Well, good morning, YouTube. It is 20 past 11 on the 2nd of May, 2025. Now, those of you who don't know, yesterday in the United Kingdom, a large swathe of it, specifically within England, they had the councillors' elections. This is where we decide what type of council administratively we want. Do we want a Labour council? Do we want a Conservative council? Do we want a Lib Dem council? All those sort of things. But this one is somewhat unique. It's not just the councillors that we had to vote for. I live in the Liverpool area. We didn't get a say because there wasn't a council that we needed to vote for this time round. But although I'm living in Liverpool, I'm actually from a constituency seat, which is about a 20-minute train ride south of here, called Runcorn. The actual seat itself is called Runcorn on Helsby. That, until yesterday, was a very safe Labour seat. With this, it meant that people were fighting over it. Labour, Tories, Lib Dem, Greens, and every other party, including the independents you can think of, came out and were fighting for it. It's only when the Reform Party have turned up and said, we're going to take this seat off you because we're going to try and listen to these people, that Reform actually did what they said they were going to do. They took the seat off Labour. This was last night they did this. I found this out only just a few minutes ago. I woke up around about, I think it was 6:30 this morning. I had to answer a call in nature, and I thought, well, while I'm here, I'll go take a look. So I did. And it said that they were still counting because there was, they had to recount it and recount it because it was that close. It really was that close. There was only 6 votes in it. 12,645 for Reform, 12,639 for Labour. So that shows how closely that seat was fought. The thing is, that seat came up for contestant because of the previous guy called Mike Amesbury, who was the Labour MP for Runcorn and Helsby. And as I have mentioned on a couple of other videos in here, what he did one night in Frodsham was he attacked a constituent. Now, I made a observation, a prediction, shall we say, that after he did this, I predicted that things would set in motion that would cost Labour that seat. This was back in October that I mentioned this. October, November, December last year, I mentioned all this. Turns out my prediction was right. Now, I didn't get a say in this. As I said, I live in Liverpool, so I can't vote for that particular constituency seat. I can't vote for that particular county council. Had I been given a choice, considering I have been let down so many times politically, I am politically homeless. I don't know. I honestly don't know where I would have voted. I know for a fact it wouldn't have been Labour. I've told my friends as to why I'm no longer a Labour supporter. My reason for that is because of Jeremy Corbyn. When he got elected into power, he actually said that there are reasons to deploy British troops. I simply can't think of any. He also said that the British Armed Forces were unnecessary. This was really harmful, hurtful to me personally, because I'm a former British soldier. And I believe our armed forces are worth something. I also believe that there are reasons to deploy our troops, specifically to help out a neighbouring crisis, or to go and fight alongside an ally, or even for that matter, for, say the Royal Navy, which patrols the sea lanes, stops piracy. Or for that matter, the army that does whatever it can on the ground, be it humanitarian or peacekeeping, or like it did in Afghanistan and Iraq, aggressively fight a war. Now, the same thing can be said about the Air Force. That keeps our airspace free of intrusions. So yes, there are reasons to keep the armed forces, and as far as I'm concerned, they're very good ones. But Labour under Jeremy Corbyn had said that they wanted to scrap the armed forces and replace it with nothing. Leave us completely defenceless, as well as take us out of NATO. Here's the thing about that. They couldn't actually take us out of NATO because the UK is one of the founding members. And, let me point out, that back in 1966 we revised it after the French had left. Article 1 of the NATO Treaty, revised 1966, specifically states that the founding members of NATO, and it mentions which ones they are, the UK being one of them, cannot leave NATO without an agreement from every other NATO nation. This was done to prevent other nations from simply just disappearing and going off into the wild on their own. It later brought the French back in, but I'm going to get onto that in another video at another time. This particular one, with Runcorn and Helsby, this one's to do with county councils. Yes, I'm a Harry Potter fan. This one's to do with county councils. Here's the thing with county councils. They fix your potholes. They do other things, that's the main, but fixing potholes is the one thing that we usually employ them to do. You know, they take away our rubbish or our trash if you're an American. They take away, they take away our refuse. They fill in our potholes. They provide us with the ambulance and the police and the fire brigade. We technically pay for that through the county council, through what's known as through something known as council tax. What's going to happen in Runcorn and Helsby, I really don't know. I know that there have been people that have voted Labour, which is perfectly fine. If you voted Labour because you still believe in them, then beautiful, and I will quite happily champion your cause to do that. But I don't know which way it's going to go. I don't know what's going to happen or who's going to say what. I have to admit I'm slightly concerned now. I really don't know what else to say about this. As it happens, I'm due to go visit my mum and dad later today, who actually live in Runcorn. I'm taking my lad over for a weekend, and I'm going with him. So I'll gauge their reaction to it when I'm at home with mum and dad. But yeah, I can't think of anything good that might come from this, because it's a county council. It's not specifically a general election. We have to wait another 2 years before that happens. And then we'll see what really happens. Still, that is all I have to say on this matter. I will speak about something else again very soon. Until next time, please take care of yourselves, guys.